This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tom, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving week. What are you looking forward to eat on Thursday?
Oh, man, we're going to do the whole spread. But, yeah, that was a fun basketball game to watch last night. That's just really enjoyable when they got going in the open floor like that. But, yeah, we're going to have turkey and ham and a big old hen. I don't know. It's going to be a good time.
Big old hen. So what have you noticed thus far with this basketball team, Tom, to this point?
Adaptable. I think after last night you're going to see a lot more zones because it did look like they kind of had this period of, uncertainty before they started doing what you're, supposed to do against the zone, move the ball quickly, get it inside. But they shot just well enough from three-point range to, Louisville didn't run the zone all the time, but there were times it was effective. So I think, and Jay Billis pointed this out, he thinks Razorbacks going to see some more zone as we go ahead.
Yeah, and I like the way Arkansas was able to still get the passes inside the paint. We saw Louisville, they doubled down and crash on the dribbler and somebody be open coming a different angle along the baseline perhaps and get an easy dunk or layup. So, Tom, they've clearly worked on zone offense, if you will, and working against the zone for when you get in the paint in tight spaces, still trying to find the open teammate.
Yeah, they definitely have done that, but they're going to have to continue to do it, and you know that Muss and his staff will prepare them to see more of it. And it was nice to see some of the ball movement, and in a game where Trevin Brazil doesn't go off, and that they get it to the Mitchell twins scored, and they got the passes right down to the rim several times, and then when things got into the open court a little bit after the meltdown Louisville had with ball security, it was a dunk circus. So that was pretty cool to watch.
Anthony Black made 3 3-point baskets. Ricky Council added 3 more. The team made 8. The other 2 came from Jordan Walsh. Is this team becoming, over the last couple of games, a better 3-point shooting team?
Well, it looks like, marginally. I don't know. I don't think they should be, relying on it, but they do need to show it more because there's going to be some games where it's going to be important that they shoot it a little bit better.
Talking with Tom Murphy this morning, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Whole Hog Sports. Tom, let's shift the focus to the football team coming off a big win against Ole Miss where they thoroughly dominated. Do you think that was the offensive line's best game of the season based on how Rocket Sanders and KJ were basically able to run wherever they wanted?
Yeah, it was certainly one of the best, and they did a really good job at figuring out what Ole Miss was doing defensively, what the twist they were running, and how they were trying to contain on the second level, and got Rocket Sanders into that level a lot. I mean, I think he had, 6 or 8 runs of 20? I think it was 6 runs of 20-plus yards. And that sequence right before halftime I thought was so huge because you felt like at some point in that game, Ole Miss was going to be able to, quote, explode on offense because they go so fast, they're hard to contain. And so it was sitting there at 21-6. They get the touchdown to make it 28. Ole Miss is in 2-minute drill, and Drew Sanders jumps up and picks off the slant, and they cash that in. So that touchdown with 5 seconds left in the half to lift it to 35-6 was really, really big because even at 42-6, you felt like, okay, Arkansas was going to win. But if Ole Miss had just gotten going in the third quarter, could have been more of a game. And if they recover an onside kick late in the game, who knows? But I just felt like that sequence late in the first half was the game stealer.
Tom, that's the positives of the weekend. The negatives might be Bumper Poole's career at Arkansas could be done. Is that what you took away when Coach Pittman was asked about it yesterday?
I took away that Sam Pittman wants Bumper Poole to be healthy and to play out the end of the season the way Bumper Poole wants. Who knows? It sounds like he's very doubtful for Friday, and then maybe they're leaving a bowl stint, unanswered right now. I saw him at practice yesterday. He seemed in good spirits, but we know he's ailing. I thought Eli Drinkwitz's response to it, he called it rat poisoning. Sam was just floating that out there. So I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to think that Bumper Poole would, just not try. I mean, like, I think he'll suit out maybe for both games. I don't know. It's just going to be fun to see. And no matter what plays out from this, Bumper Pool is a guy who in 5 years gave everything he had, played hurt all year this season, is now the tackle leader, passing Tony Bua. I think he's up to 441, and really kind of he got named the captain this year, did the things that Grant Morgan was able to do last year, and just kind of be a part, on the cutting edge of Arkansas football, regaining respectability, and, becoming a tough out for really anybody.
So you mentioned bowl game and maybe him playing there. Let's talk about the bowl. What do you think is important to Arkansas? Where would Sam Pittman like to go? Is this about a player reward, or is it about timing? Where would the 6-win or 7-win schedule do you think the Hogs are likely to land?
Yeah, it just depends. Like how many teams get in the playoff, which looks like one for the SEC right now after Tennessee's loss. But you never know. But I think the Liberty Bowl is hot after Arkansas, and is that reciprocated? Yeah, probably. I mean, playing in Memphis is a good deal. The Razorback fans can get there. I think there'll be some excitement.
Is that a reward?
But I tell you, yeah.
Is that a reward to go to Memphis?
Mm-hmm. But I'm seeing a lot of people predicting. I'm sorry, guys. I'm seeing a lot of people predicting Las Vegas, and I think Razorback fans would be eager to get there. Like we've seen a bunch in Maui. There was a bunch out in Provo, Utah. I think Arkansas fans would say, hey, trip to Vegas in winter. Let's do this. But composing your roster now for college teams that aren't going to the playoffs is such a weird deal. Sam Pittman talked about it some on Monday. It's just the window for the portal. I mean, guys are going to be getting in it. So your roster could be down a pretty significant number of players like Penn State's was last year. And that was a good bowl. And so who knows what will happen, but we're going to see a lot of things shake out next week.
See, I think this Vegas deal's interesting because the game is on December 17th. You essentially have like a week off. You get right back after it. Coaches could focus on recruiting earlier. It's a weird time for an SEC bowl on the 17th, but great facility, destination location. You can make a lot of cases why playing early and in Vegas would be maybe the best thing for a team that's kind of where Arkansas's at 6 or 7 wins this year.
Yeah, good point, Tommy. And I think there's a lot of pros to it, but if you sat down with Sam Pittman and had the time to talk through it, I'm sure there would be cons as well. But yeah, I mean, you get on your recruiting a little bit quicker. You're done with your season quicker. So your free time, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of pros and cons to it, I think. And we've never dealt with it here much, having a bowl that early. So if it does come to fruition, I'm sure we'll hear all about the pluses and the minuses to it.
Tom, Sam Pittman also talked about potentially decimated rosters that not only he but coaches will have to deal with. And what I mean by that is the guys that hit the portal right before bowl games. How do you think coaches will deal with that in the coming years when they're going to see more of their current players decide the portal's for me, I'm not playing this bowl game?
The sport keeps evolving. I mean, if you think 5 or 6 years ago, we didn't have portal. We didn't have NLI and or NIL, and it's just a weird time. And Sam Pittman did talk about that on Monday, like that he advocated that you did need to open that transfer portal window because coaches want to know before the signing day what the numbers they're going to need, what positions they have to bolster up. And so we're in the early stages of this, and Penn State, they played a representative game in the first half, but I think their lack of depth and Arkansas kind of figuring out what was going on and getting their running game going, that impacted last year's Outback Bowl. And as I said, that's a pretty big bowl on the Big Ten pecking order and SEC as well. So I think it's just going to be year after year. It's going to be hard to navigate for the coaches, and it's just so new. and players are all about finding, playing time, their best fit. And we'll probably see guys from rosters all over the country that are a little bit surprising who get into the portal come next week.
Do you think KJ even contemplates playing at the next level, or is he, with the injuries, not done enough to warrant a discussion like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've got to think that he has thought about that, especially going into the year. If I have a big enough year, if I show my strengths, what will my market value be, my stock? So, yeah, I think he definitely is thinking about that. It's a tough decision for him, I would think, because I'm not sure if he's going to be thought of in that upper tier of quarterbacks, but certainly a guy that an NFL team could look at and say, yeah, we could build around this guy, give him some time. And so I don't know. That's a tough question. And I know for Arkansas fans, it's like, wow, we found a difference maker at quarterback. They're not easy to find. You look at programs that are struggling or kind of up and down, like look at South Carolina this year. Rattler has a huge game and they beat Tennessee. Rattler has some average games and South Carolina loses games like against Missouri and gets blown out by Arkansas. So it's a tough call for him. And then what would Arkansas's next page be at quarterback? That's going to be one of the biggest offseason questions the Razorbacks face, in my view.
Yeah. Tom, we've talked about all the things the coaches are challenged with particularly Sam Pittman, with dealing with right as the season closes, from recruiting the players that are on your roster to stay, the ones you want, to kind of running off the ones that maybe you want to prune from your roster tree. The other thing we really hadn't focused on a lot, outside of the recruiting stuff and roster management, is staff management. Sam hadn't lost a lot of guys that I don't think he's lost any that just left. Have had to battle to keep a few coordinators. He's made some changes that appeared to be his own doing. What kind of job does Sam have ahead of him in your guesstimate at this point on staff management?
Yeah, they've really had a good thing going with their coordinators, and I know fans get mad at the different ones at various times. But you look at the personnel and the injury issues that Barry Odom's had to deal with. Yeah, the numbers don't look great, but the schemes, you go back to year one. The schemes have done things that have won football games, and that's really all that matters, right? And then if you look at the statistics for Kendall Briles, total offense, rushing numbers, balance, they all look great. And there's some areas, red zone, short yardage, fourth downs, that Arkansas fans want to see improvement. So Arkansas has done really well to hold on to the coordinators. I just think that at some point there's going to be a head coaching offer that I don't see why either of those two would leave for anything other than a good head coaching offer somewhere. So is this the year? Could be. We don't know. There'll probably be openings that are surprise or, we're not aware of at this point that come open that appeal to those guys. But I would think if they don't get head coaching offers, that Sam Pittman would be ready to roll in 2023, both those guys, as well as his buddy, Scott Fountain. Arkansas has made, continual improvements on special teams. I don't think they've had a block this year. Maybe a partial field goal block. I can't remember, but they've done better. So most of his moves have revolved around a coach's recruiting prowess and how they deal with the players. And it just remains to be seen if there will be any changes this year. But the statistics and the odds say that there will probably be some.
Tom, no show for us on Thursday. We'll leave it there. Enjoyed your time as always. Enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday, and we'll see what they do against the Tigers on Friday.
Yeah, same to you guys. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving week. See ya.
Yeah.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.